Three in the Key is live, so stay tuned to the Sports Fanbase Network so that we can break down all of the great basketball playoff action happening across Pennsylvania. Stay tuned to Three in the Key. Good evening, high school basketball fans, and welcome to another episode of Three in the Key, presented by SFBN, your one-stop shop for all things high school boys basketball in Pennsylvania. I'm Richie Blyweiss, and I'm joined this evening by our high school basketball experts, Josh Abrams, Jack Kapp. Guys, I feel like I haven't seen you in so long. It's been a couple weeks. I haven't seen you guys, and so much has happened across Pennsylvania. We were talking the other day. We're talking over the weekend, and we're thinking about the show coming up, and we're saying, man, like we've got this idea, we've got projected brackets, and then it seemed like yesterday, just in the chain of our emails, Ari and I are talking. We're all talking, and then boom, here comes the email. The brackets are out. The brackets are out. So we've got a lot to talk about tonight, guys. And it's not just for us to talk. It's for you to talk as well. So at home, please, while you're watching, whether you're watching live or you're watching on a delay, please, as the show goes on, leave your questions and comments there so we can interact. We want to talk to you every week. We have been doing it. We have mentioned comments. We've mentioned specific people. Please write those comments in there so that we can talk about you and what you have to say. But one thing you definitely can put in as we're going through live or as you're going through on the delay, please put in the trivia question, your answer for the trivia question. So here it is. Here is Kapp's question for the night. Who scored the most points in a PCL league game? So again, who scored the most points in a PCL league game?
And just in case somebody out there doesn't know PCL, Philadelphia Catholic League.
There you go.
In Philadelphia.
So in Philadelphia Catholic League PCL, the most points. So guys, we talked about it at the start of the show. We said, so much happening with the playoffs. Let's talk about the format for tonight's show. So with the district tournaments, they're over. They're all over across the state. You know what? We're gearing up now. We've got state tournament action happening. That's what we were talking about. The brackets coming out yesterday. Now, there has been some weather in PA, some bad weather coming out. We had the bad storm a few days ago on Friday.
We're going to have some more in a couple days.
And that's the thing. I just heard the latest predictions, 8 to 16 inches now coming in. So it's getting bad. We've got wind coming in, not bad wind like we had last time, but still much more snow than last time. And I think that's going to really shut things down in March. But it's messing things up from this last weekend, from Friday's action. Because of it, they're putting a delay on some matchups, causing some games to be actually played tonight.
Or this afternoon.
Or this afternoon, I'm sorry. So we've got a lot of things happening from Monday. But that being said, nevertheless, we do have brackets to look at. So 5A, 4A, 1A state tournaments, they begin this Friday. 6A, 3A, and 2A state tournaments, they're going to begin this Saturday. Problem is, guys, today's only Monday. That's our biggest problem that we're faced with right now. But being Monday, tonight we're going to go through each class's bracket. We're going to start at 6A. We'll work our way all the way down to 1A. We're going to look at some key matchups. We're going to look at some key schools. And some of you guys, I'm going to trust you to give some predictions. I'm certainly not giving them. I'm going to let you guys give the predictions, some analysis. We've talked a lot this year, and I think it all leads up right now to this. So, are we good to go here? Everybody at home seems ready to go? We're ready to go here on Three in the Key. So, 6A. You've got the District 1 championship that happens. We've got some photos that we're going to show you. They're going to come up on the screen here.
All courtesy of the
wonderful Jack Kapp.
So it was fun to be there.
Well, so Abington takes down, and this is, wow, what a game. Abington beats PW 75-73. Now, Abington's a team we've talked about all year long, guys. PW has certainly gotten their fair share of mentions as well. But Abington really takes the cake in this one. As you can see, some great shots here, Kapp.
That's the jump ball. Now look at the physical play. If folks at home can see this.
Oh, they were getting into it.
Look at the physical play between these two giants. And this is on the left, you're seeing Naheem McLeod of PW, a legitimate 7'2", about 180 pounds, but 7'2", getting stronger every game. And on the other side, of course, was Eric Dixon. There's McLeod dunking the ball, which he does very easily, basically
with
on
ease.
His tippy toes if he wants to. He does have a 25-inch vertical, let's say something like that. He's a developing player. He's very thin and very baby-faced, let's put it that way. There's the big guy from Abington, Eric Dixon, we've talked about all season.
Eric Dixon's feel like we've talked about on every single show.
Eric Dixon, in the early part of this game, I guess it was a game plan. He was going to post up down low. And it was Alan Glover, I believe, was on him, covered him like a glove.
Wow.
And
covered him like a glove.
It was getting right. There it is right there.
I see merchandise rights right there.
Look at that. Yeah. This is physical play. Let me tell you. That was no joke. And
the ease of that layup.
That was the second half. That's the second half when he started busting in. So he changed his game plan, or maybe the coach changed it at halftime. He went from posting up to starting at the top of the key, and he was devastating. Wow. It was a sight to behold. A grown man going.
In this game? Who did you have? Did you have Abington or PW? You had PW.
I had PW.
Wow. A lot of us had PW. So essentially, maybe not steamrolling, but winning the district title because they hadn't lost all season.
They were undefeated.
But the simple fact is that Abington just has PW's number. You look at the last district title game, which was in 2015. Abington beat PW by 18. It was a much more low-scoring affair, and it was even before Eric Dixon and Lucas Monroe got to the high school level.
Right.
So clearly, we got to see a much more rejuvenated matchup in this game.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
In the third quarter, Dixon had, I believe, 17 points, which is a phenomenal quarter. And Heath wasn't far behind, Josh. I think he had 14, if I'm right.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, guys, Abington, PW, certainly teams to be on the lookout for.
Yeah, and we may end up, my prediction is, they're in different parts of the state bracket.
They're in different parts of the bracket.
And I believe Josh has the same prediction. We might see them again in the state final, which would be
it would be the game. It wouldn't be the first. We're going to talk about the brackets in a few moments. We're going to talk about the 6A brackets, but I agree with you, Cap. I think both of those teams actually have a pretty easy road to get there again.
And by the way, Naheem McLeod scored 20 points and was extremely aggressive and physical, which when I saw him at the beginning of the season, he was not, Josh. So he's made strides.
All right. I want to move on to another team here because, we've got 4 different districts that I want to talk about, even the championships at least, before we even move on to looking at the bracket itself. District 3 championships, yet another close game. This one a 3-point game here. Reading beats Chambersburg 46-43. Just wow. 21st District 3 championship. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, either of you take this one on, but Reading, Chambersburg.
Well, obviously a low-scoring game. Reading ends up winning.
But a close-scoring game.
Yeah, 46-43. They had a much larger lead, a 34-19 cushion about midway through the third period, and then Chambersburg started to storm their way back. They even had a chance to tie it up at the end, but Chambersburg's forward Tyler Collier missed the front end of a 1-and-1, and it essentially saved Reading's chances there. So obviously we're not seeing this. We're not seeing as scary of a Reading team this year as we did last year when they had Lonnie Walker. You would think last year with Lonnie Walker, we're kind of looking at it the same way that we've looked at Plymouth Whitemarsh all year. But Reading, nevertheless, is still a team that you don't fret at. It's a team that you definitely have to prepare well for, because even with that graduation, not just of Walker but other key seniors last year, it's still a testament to how tough Reading is.
Well, and here's something about these two teams as well. I'm looking at my own bracket right here, and again, we're going to talk brackets in a few moments, but just looking at this matchup in particular, the only way that these two teams are going to get back together again is if they take it and go all the way, because they are in separate parts of the bracket. Yeah. So, if we go on the idea that Abington and PW, I don't know that really either of these teams are going to make it into the championship match here. I really think that Abington and PW really are squaring away, but an upset here and there.
Abington and PW are loaded with talent. There's possibly 8 to 10 D1 players in the court at any time, and possibly some NBA type players too.
Wow!
I don't know how far McLeod's going to progress, but if he continues to grow and builds up some strength,
well, maybe Dixon too,
NBA.
and maybe Dixon as well. From
Dixon definitely has.
Yeah.
And
it hasn't happened in a pretty long time, but we've seen state championship matchups turn out to be the same as district matchups. There's been a couple Chester Lower Marion matchups.
Yes, there have been.
So it's definitely possible for either of these teams, whether if it's Abington, PW, Reading, Chambersburg, or any of these district championship matchups could happen, with the exception of District 7 maybe. But that just shows you how interesting it gets.
I want to talk about that. I want to talk about District 7. Let's talk about the District 7 championship. You just brought it up, Josh. Let's talk about it. Penn Hills defeats Pine Richland 60-56. This is the District 7 championship. Penn Hills
That's
taking this one.
A bit of an upset.
A bit of an upset.
I expected Pine Richland to win that game.
I think, I did too, but looking at it in hindsight, Penn Hills is just led by a sort of a front court / back court duo of Davon Stevens and Corey Fulton. Stevens is a 6'5" wing guy who kind of is like Lucas Monroe from Abington. He's very athletic and lanky and can really get to the rim in one stride from the three-point line. And then Corey Fulton is a sharp-shooting point guard, 6 foot. Probably has a very quick trigger. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to watch any of these District 7 teams play alongside most other teams, but definitely interesting because these teams are out west. They spend the majority of their time out west, and the state tournament is probably the best time of the year to watch these teams because now we get to see them get an opportunity to play teams over here on the East Coast.
I have a very good idea along the lines of what you were speaking of for District 7 and the Whitfield. I think they should hire SFBN to broadcast their games, pay for our expenses to go across the state.
Absolutely.
And we'll take care of them. We'll broadcast those games and
for sure
put them on TV. But
so for those listening, we're in.
The point is well taken. We don't get to see them because they're really not on TV,
and they're talented too. That's the one thing that people can't forget about these teams is that just because they're out west, out maybe in the middle of nowhere in Pennsylvania, they produce very good basketball teams and probably even better people. So
all right, guys. One more upset. I feel like I've said that about every single game we've discussed. But here's one more for you. And this was a big upset.
This is
the biggest. District 12 championship. Shocking. Major upset. Lincoln defeats Roman, and not even close. This isn't like a buzzer beater. This is a 10-point differential, guys. 86-76. Lincoln defeats Roman.
Now, I've seen Lincoln a couple times this season. They have the 7-footer who really basically does very little. He comes in, he's a presence, he'll get a few rebounds. He really is not a scoring possibility.
No, but to have a 7-footer under the basket.
He's big.
Right.
And look, he's not turning too many shots away, but he is a presence there. But he is not the main part of that team. That is a very strong team. Tyree Corbett is the head coach, I believe is his name. Very aggressive and strong athletes throughout, other than Pedro Matos, who's the 7-footer, who's really just learning the game. He's from Brazil. He just learned English this year. So it's a whole new thing to him. Nice to be 7 feet tall. But 5 straight district titles for Roman. And this was taken away by a Lincoln upset. I'm sure Roman was stunned. Now it's 86 to 76 to 10. We don't know what happened at the end of that game. I know it was close. It was 45-44 at halftime. Lincoln had a point lead, and then Roman went on a run. And then I was actually going to go to that game, and then they had the snowstorm. And then I think they rescheduled it for Saturday, so I couldn't go to the game because I was covering other games for SFBN. So I unfortunately was not able to see that. But that was the game that was on my schedule for Friday, and it turned out to be one of the biggest upsets ever.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we've talked about enough games here. Let's take a look at the brackets. Now, the brackets are so big that what ends, at least in these first rounds, the brackets are so big that what we want to be able to do is take the brackets and essentially cut them in half. So we want to be able to look at it as almost like an east-west, and it's not perfect east-west, but
No,
it's
it's
good
not.
and it's not perfect East-West. But what we're going to do is we're going to take the top half of the bracket first, and that's what you can see on your screen right now. And then we're going to take a look at the bottom half. So, Jules, if you can keep that up there for me for a minute, I want to go through these game by game. Thank you. And I want you to take a look at these. So you've got Abington first up here. They're the 1-1 District 1 seed. Abington, they're at 22-5 record on that. They're going to take on Harrisburg. Harrisburg is at a 17-9 seed. Again, we've talked about Abington. We think they can just run this whole thing right here. So I don't see Harrisburg really posing a challenge, but the upsets are what keep us going here. Now, in our next round here, you've got St. Joe's Prep. And am I right to say St. Joe's Prep doesn't have a bye here? Are they waiting on a winner? They're waiting on a winner.
No, they're waiting
right
on
now.
the winner of Northampton versus East Stroudsburg.
There you go.
Which I believe is possibly over if we can get a ticker on that. You know, that's an old-fashioned expression,
Yeah,
but the
that's
idea
okay.
is the same. I mean, if we can get an internet report on that, possibly, we would know who the Prep is going to face.
Right.
Now, we've talked about it before. This could be, if Prep loses this game, this could be Speedy's last game.
Wow.
As a coach.
You really think he would go after this one?
He might.
All right, well,
I don't know.
let's
I mean,
hold
look,
on. Let's talk
if
about
his health
that.
is good, he might come back. We don't know.
Let's
but-
talk about that. I want to go through the rest of these, though, but let's put a pin in that, though, Cap. Let's keep going. You've got Chambersburg in here at 19-5. They are going to play the winner, I guess, of Hazleton and Norristown. And then you've got Lincoln taking on Upper Darby. Lincoln, a great team at 21-6 there. Hempfield at 23-4. They're going to play Coatesville at 21-5. Lower Merion also 21-5. They'll take on Manheim Township. And then you've got Neshaminy waiting in the wings right there at the bottom. And guys, I mean, I look at these teams and realize that just, wow. Oh, excuse me. East Stroudsburg versus Northampton. That game is going to be at 7:30
Right.
there.
So the
But-
loser of that game plays St. Joe Prep. The
Okay.
winner of that game plays Neshaminy.
There you go. There you go. So your
Okay.
brackets are more
Yeah.
updated than mine are. I'm getting updates, and that's what happens when the brackets come out this late. We're
I got
getting
that information
the most
from our
updated brackets. Look at
our
you.
CEO.
Our CEO Ari, she's filing in here.
That's where I got the information from.
Guys,
Yeah.
I look at this top half, and I'm just right now in 6A. I am just looking at the top half of this bracket that we just mentioned. We just showed you at home. I am seeing dominating teams at every single position here. I don't even know if it's right to use the word upset necessarily, because I feel like any of these teams, look at this, 21-5, 23-5, 21-6, there's nobody here except for Neshaminy that is in a double-digit loss. Neshaminy comes in, and they might be the worst seeded team here at 17-10. And that's even still not horrible, but...
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really surprised here. This bracket is just phenomenal.
Well,
It's
I
gonna be
think
fun to watch.
something for me that stands out is Abington. You know, they won their third district title in the last 4 years, but they haven't won a state or not a state title. They haven't won a state playoff game since 2014.
That's correct. Yeah.
They've been upset in the first round. 2015, they were upset by J.P. McCaskey, who ended up going to the Final Four.
And CD East, I believe,
Yeah,
upset them,
and
right?
then last
Central
year
Dauphin East from
they
District
lost to
3.
Central Dauphin East in overtime. So it's really going to be interesting to see how Charles Grasty prepares his team coming into this game, because I think this Abington team, this is the same team essentially from last year. I think they could be better as Eric Dixon gets older. But
All right, well, let me ask you this, guys. So let's talk. We're talking the top half of this bracket here.
Yeah.
Who is your team you really think that is going to take this top part of the bracket to go to the championship game? Who is your team?
Whoa.
And I'm going to ask you one more. I'm going to ask you a more difficult question. Who is your potential sleeper in this top?
That's a good question.
That's why I'm the host. That's why I do this. That's why I'm the host.
Because there always is a sleeper.
And that's it.
Yes, yeah.
So
Or a
who's the
Cinderella team in
Is
every
Abington the
tournament.
team, and who's the sleeper?
That's a very good question. And possibly Lincoln might go a couple rounds in
Okay.
based on what we just heard about the other day.
Taking momentum.
Unfortunately, we didn't get to
Yeah.
see it again, but
Yeah.
Lincoln,
Yeah.
great athletes.
Coming off the momentum
we
of the win
talked
over
about it.
Roman.
So who knows? Maybe
Yeah.
they'll go a couple rounds in. I don't think they're going to go too deep, but this is the farthest Lincoln's ever gone.
Okay.
And it's the first, by the way, the first city championship for them in their entire history, 60 years.
Wow.
So this is something for them to talk about, and it might have given them some incentive, some momentum to carry on. I mean, the Neshaminy we've talked about as a kind of a one-man team, and
So we don't see you're not going to make it far in the tournament with a one-man team.
You never know whether. I mean, look, Arcidiacono can put up 30, 35, 40 points. We don't know, maybe more. And
is he Arcidiacono?
Arcidiacono.
Or is he Arcidiacono? I'm saying, is he the next coming at that rate?
I haven't seen him play.
All right.
But I think he is, from what I'm reading. Yeah.
Let's go to the bottom half of the bracket. I don't want to spend all day on 6A. We still got 5A all the way down to 1A. So you're seeing right now the bottom half of the bracket here. Let's look at some of these teams. You got Reading and Ben Salem, who are going to go at it. Reading coming in as a real powerhouse here.
Yeah.
Ben Salem, they're 17-10. Central Bucks West, you got CB West waiting in the wings. They're 20-6 right now. Roman Catholic, 19-6. They will take on Penridge at 19-7. Now Plymouth White Marsh, that's a team we've talked about already tonight. They're at 27-1.
Yeah.
PW's got to be in your finals there. They've got to be up there for you. Dallas Town, 16-10. I don't even like from Philly. I don't even like saying the word Dallas.
Thank you.
State College, 23-1. They're going to go against Woodland Hills at 20-4. Pine Richland, big football school, doing well in basketball too. 20-6. They'll be going against Pittsburgh. You got
Central Catholic.
Pittsburgh Central Catholic. Sorry. You got Penn Hills at 23-3. They're going to go against Fox Chapel. I think that's an easy Penn Hills win right there. And then, am I saying this right? Alderdice?
I thought it was Alderdice.
I think it's Alderdice.
Is it
Yeah.
Alderdice?
Taylor Alderdice.
I'm trying to make
part
some
Italian. You're
fancy
part
things.
Italian, that's
No,
what
I'm
it is.
Jewish. That's all.
But that's
I got
close
nothing.
enough.
It's Mount, and then they're going to go on against Mount Lebanon.
Right.
So yes, having some fun here on 3 in the Key,
Little
guys.
fun.
Again, I will ask. Yes, every good TV station needs.
I think it's
that.
Alderdice. I do.
Is it Alderdice? Okay, I apologize. So. Guys, again, I'm going to ask you, I don't want to go through each game. I do want to move on to 5A here. But I'm going to ask you, who's your team that you see coming out of this? And you'll shock me if you say anything other than PW. And who's your sleeper team coming out of here?
Don't forget, Roman is in this bracket here.
They are. They are.
Even though they lost to Lincoln.
Are they angry?
Roman's got some great players down there. So
are they angry coming off of an upset, a 10-point upset?
Maybe. They beat Bonner Prendy in the Catholic League Championship, Philadelphia Catholic League Championship.
Well, we talk about that PCL when we say how devastating it can be.
Best league in the country. But
this is.
They're playing Penridge. Penridge had some nice wins this season, didn't they? They beat Reading.
They did upset Reading. Yep.
So I mean, look, all these teams are in this tournament because they earned it. Mm-hmm. They're there not only because of their record, but they earned it. That's why you're seeing so many good teams in here. There's very few slouches.
But look at the top of the. If you look at the top of the bracket, you've got Reading, Ben Salem, CB West. Do any of those 3 teams give you pause right there?
Ben Salem is going to get knocked out.
Ben Salem will get knocked out.
Even though they had a good season, but
Reading is 24-4.
I think Reading knocks them off.
Yeah, Reading, but Reading or Central Bucks West.
Well, I mean, you look at Central Bucks West. Central Bucks West is a poised team that excels best when they play at their own pace and run the game the way they want to run it.
Jake Reichwein
Jake Reichwein, right? Colin McAdams, Shane McCusker. Right. They have a very talented and a poised group of kids that have played under Adam Sherman for a while, who know what they're doing. And
that's why
I think Central Bucks West is a real sleeper in this state tournament. Depending on who they play in that first round, I think they are going to meet up with Reading, and I think it will be too much for them to overcome.
All right, guys. Yeah. Well, I hate to cut us off here, but you know what? We've got more 6A to talk about in the weeks coming up. Now, one quick news and note before we get to a quick break here. This is per the CEO, R.A. Bluestein. Per a source, Speedy is coming back next year. He's speeding right into it. He's speeding right into next year. He's ready to go. Now, when we do come back, we are going to talk 5A. I've got so many papers here in front of me. You guys got your laptops, papers galore. When we come back, we're going to go over the 5A district championships. We've got to talk Pencrest for sure in District 1. So much to talk about. So stay tuned to 3 in the Key right here on the Sports Fan Base Network.
Hi, I'm Tommy Green, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. When I was in high school, it was very important to me to show scouts what I could do. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you're a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY.
We're talking goaltending here, and we're talking about high school rules as opposed to NCAA or NBA, which are slightly different. The referee is looking for 4 criteria. Number 1, is the ball on its way down? Number 2, is the ball fully above the rim? Number 3, was it an attempted shot? And number 4, did that shot have a chance to go in the opinion of the referee? If all 4 of those criteria are met, a goaltending call is made and the basket is good. Slapping the backboard is never goaltending. It's always a technical foul.
Welcome back to 3 in the Key right here on the Sports Fan Base Network. Thank you so much for staying with us through our commercial break. And thanks so much to our comments that are coming in right now on Facebook Live. Thank you so much to our viewers. We are going to get to those comments in a little bit. We do want to talk to you. We want to answer some of those questions. We want to put our thoughts against yours. Also, though, we have a lot to talk about still. We spent a lot of time on 6A, guys. Probably more time.
It's the big one.
It is the big one. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
It's so much fun.
It is. It's a lot of fun. And, from what we talked about, there's so much to look at. Yeah. But these are things we can talk about in the weeks ahead. Mm-hmm. Let's go to 5A. Let's do a quick recap here of some of these district championships. And, guys, you can jump in. Would you prefer that we talk about each one, or you guys want to let's do that. Let's talk about each one quickly here, and then we'll get into the brackets. Okay. Rather than me just saying off the champions each one, let's talk each one first. So let's go recap District 1 championship. Pencrest beats Bishop Shanahan. This was a dominant game.
I was
You're
there.
going to see some photos.
Well, obviously,
are these your photos?
I took the photos.
Look
at the face on this kid. How old? If you saw him in the street, how old would you think he was?
About 11.
Or 12. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe 12.
He's a killer.
Yeah?
He's a baby-face killer.
He is.
Baby-face assassin.
Yeah,
That's what they
assassin.
call it.
Do not try to cover him.
No?
No one can.
I saw a movie called Baby Driver. It was really good. That's what he looks like. That's a great movie.
No, he is really, without question,
last night.
He's the best ball handler and a player that can create space and get his own shot. He's like an Allen Iverson. And they list him at 5'11". He's about 5'8", 5'9", because he's the same height as Josh, and I stood next to him, and he's about 140 pounds.
He's not nearly as good looking as Josh, though.
No,
but
he can play better than Josh.
Oh, okay.
Josh, I'm assuming.
You're going to take that, Josh?
I'm assuming. Look at the ref. Look at the ref. He got caught up in the. Look at that. He got caught up in the celebration.
As the camera comes back and you see me dodging and weaving, they kind of look at our monitor.
Well,
we do like a bullet sound effect. Pew, pew.
Tyler Norwood. Let me tell you, Tyler Norwood put on a show. Really seriously, could not be covered. He scored 27 points.
27 of Pencrest's 50 points.
Right, which is
more than half. More than about 54%.
54%.
About 54%.
And Pencrest held Bishop Shanahan to 28, 14 in each half. And by the way, the last 5 or 6 points were in like trash time at the end. So
they probably could have gone up more and they just stopped.
It wasn't just Tyler Norwood. The defense was fantastic. They tied up Dodds, who's a big 6'7", post-up man, and they beat him up.
Well, let's get to a closer game. District 3 championship. You've got Milton Hershey. They beat William Penn out at York.
Love it.
69-62. Milton Hershey.
Yeah, well, Milton Hershey has the little guy we've been talking about all year, and if I say his name wrong, Josh will correct me.
What was it? Danye Baylor Carroll.
Baylor Carroll. The hyphenated names always get me a little bollocked up.
Hyphen.
Name. He is 5'8", 155 pounds. He only scored 10 points in this game, if I remember my box score correctly.
He's saving himself for the tournament.
Well, they concentrate on him. They kind of double up on him because he's another player like Norwood. Oh, would I love to see those two go at it.
Norwood?
Oh, that would be so great to see Pencrest play Milton Hershey in a championship.
Well,
is that possible? Or
that's what I'm looking at right now. No, Pencrest is on the top here.
Where's Milton Hershey?
As I look, and we're going to get into the brackets. Milton Hershey's on the bottom.
Yeah,
they could get up in the championship. They could end up in the championship. They'd both have to make it to the championship.
That would be a great battle of little men.
All right, well, we'll get to that in a minute. Let's go through this other. We got we have 2 more championships to get to. You got District 7. Mars beats Franklin Regional 54-44 on this one. So anything to add on that one? I know these aren't really 2 teams that we've talked a whole lot about, Mars and Franklin Regional.
We've been paying a little bit of attention to Mars, and we know that's a quality program. There's no question about it. And evidently, we didn't get to see the game once again, but they outplayed their rival Franklin Regionals in that area.
Well, let's talk District 12.
Geographical area.
District 12, we have talked about these teams here. Bonner Prendy, I know we've talked about Bonner Prendy. They beat King by 5 points, 64-59. Bonner Prendy and King, both certainly teams worth discussing.
I mean, we've seen Bonner Prendy. They have Isaiah Wong at the point. They have a Jiri Johnson, who's a fantastic athlete, especially on follow-up dunks. Never seen anybody go quicker to the basket in my life in high school. And also, there's another big guy.
Tariq
Ingram.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a lot of beef to him. He's like 6'8", 6'9", but strong, whereas Jiri Johnson is very
athletic,
wide and athletic. But that's a really good team and very well coached by Jack Kincannon, who played there himself back in '83. Look, King is no pushover either. King played in the Public League Championship. Now they got spanked a little bit by Imhotep, but Imhotep's number 9 in the country. So this is a game where, look, it was a very close game, and MLK may advance in this tournament.
All right, well, speaking of the tournament, let's talk about the tournament here. Let's take a look at the brackets. Now, instead, last time we broke up, we talked about the top half of the bracket, essentially, which is what we showed you on the screen. We talked about the top half, and then we went and talked about the bottom half. I'm going to talk about the top half and then the bottom half, and then, guys, anywhere you want to jump in with specific teams or games, I'm going to let you do that. Our brackets are up right now on the screen, so you can see this is the top half of the bracket. You can see teams. These are some great teams and great matchups here. Pencrest, we talked about a little bit before. They're 24-2 going into this. They're going to take on Shippensburg. Pencrest really could run this whole thing, guys. They could end up going towards the end here. You've got Northeastern. They're going to take on that winner of Abington Heights and Garden Spot. I know that there's a game that they've got before that at West York High School. I just don't have the competitor for that just yet. Abington Heights and Garden Spot. You got MLK and Chester. William Penn, they're waiting on their opponent. Bonner Prendy, they're going to take on New Oxford. Bonner Prendy, a team that we just mentioned them, but they are a team to watch out for.
They're going to beat New Oxford.
Well, they are. They're going to beat New Oxford. Bonner Prendy is going.
If they don't.
Bonner Prendy is going to win that bottom 4 game. Those bottom 8 teams there, they will go all the way. They'll get their shot in the semis.
Yeah.
Allentown, Greencastle Antrim, Dallas, Lower Dauphin, none of those are teams that can hold anything to Bonner Prendy. Now, if you guys can, let's dump out of that. Let's go right on to our next screen. Are we on that? There we go, Julian. We're right on to that. So here we go. This is now the bottom part of the bracket. Milton Hershey, they're at 23-3, and Milton Hershey, a team we just talked about.
What a season!
District 3 champions. Yeah. They're going to go on. They're going to take on and probably destroy Westchester Ruston. They're coming in at 17-10. They have no shot. Now, Milton Hershey could potentially play Bishop Shanahan here. They're at 20-5. They're going to take on Hershey. Guys, Milton Hershey going against either of those teams could be interesting. You've got Wissahickon and Archbishop Carroll. We talk about District 12 and how strong they are, but Wissahickon and Archbishop Carroll could be good. Bangor is going to take on Lampeter Strasburg. Franklin Regional and Highlands. Hollidaysburg and Carrick, those are 2 teams we really haven't just. Hollidaysburg got a little bit of notice in football on In the Trenches, but certainly not here.
Don't know those teams.
No.
Yeah.
Mars area and Hampton, and then you got Cathedral Prep coming out of District 10 and Trinity area. Guys, there have to be probably in 5A only maybe, I'm going to say 5, let's stick with that number 5. I'm going to say 5 teams that really could come out of this and make it towards the end. You've got 4 teams, maybe 5 as we come out of the brackets. Thank you so much for that, Julian, and our production staff for putting those together. They look great. But guys, you've got maybe 4 picks. I'm looking on my screen right now. I see we've got an upset pick coming in. Milton Hershey in an upset, losing in the first round to WC Ruston.
From
that's from the boss. Ari's got that. He's got an upset coming in. Yeah, that could bust a lot of brackets there. But let's keep going here. He's also saying Sun Valley leads Holy Ghost 20-19 at the half. And Northeastern will play the winner of that Holy Ghost Sun Valley. That game is going. They're at the half. That's a 1-point differential right there.
That's a typical Holy Ghost game right there.
And here's his quote.
Yeah.
I have King beating Chester in round 1 and Abington Heights in round 2 before losing to Pencrest. Pencrest is that dominant team we talked about. So guys, who are these dominant teams? Pencrest being one. What else are you guys seeing here?
Looking at the bracket, you got Pencrest, King, Chester. The only thing, that King and Chester matchup in the first round is probably the most intriguing. I think whoever wins that contest could essentially make it to that quarterfinal matchup on Friday the 16th. I think eventually
Pencrest the most dominant team coming out of the top half of this bracket, though?
From what I saw the other day,
I would say either them
play
or
like that,
or Bonner Prendy. But yes, Kapp,
sure,
as you
Bonner
were
Prendy.
saying,
Yeah.
you know, they
clamp down defense.
they have Tyler Norwood, who obviously is their leading scorer. But yes, that defense, that swarming defense on the ball, is just going to be very tough to get over. But Bonner Prendy, we could be looking at a Bonner Prendy Pencrest semifinal at that top half of the bracket.
yes, we could.
Who would you guys take?
I hope I can make that game.
Yeah.
In that game, I'd probably go with Bonner Prendy.
So would
I just think they're too big and they're too
Most likely.
Yeah.
Let's go to the bottom half of the bracket here, guys. Milton Hershey, they're at the top of the bracket. Do you see them taking it all the way? You got Archbishop Carroll. You got
have
a
a
great
chance.
District 12 team in there in Archbishop Carroll.
Archbishop Carroll is so well coached, Romanchik, Doug Romanchik, they might go all the way. They have a possibility of going all the way. Archbishop Carroll, very, very good team. They have A.J. Hogard, a couple of other guys that are really
And I know
tough.
you guys
He's
have watched a lot of
sophomore,
Mars
by the way.
area, so
We like Mars. I just watched a movie about Mars. So
That's perfect.
I may pick
And
Mars
a mission
up
there.
for that.
And a
I
mission
wouldn't.
going
I
there.
wouldn't be
Mission to Mars.
Mission to Mars.
I
There
wouldn't
you
be
go.
surprised if Cathedral Prep made their way towards the top. I think those Erie teams out there really
Erie
have a lot of
Cathedral Prep.
really have a lot of success
Oh
in the
yeah,
state tournament.
well, they're good in football. That's for sure.
All right, guys. Let's go on 6A, 5A. Wow. Let's take a look at some of the district championships from 4A. So let's take a look. District 111 championship. Bethlehem Catholic beats Lower Moreland. This was a blowout.
was a blowout.
79 to 50. Is that not a blowout?
It's a blowout.
That's a blowout. Okay.
But, I mean, Lower Moreland.
I thought you were disagreeing with my
I'm
definition
saying-
of blowout
No,
here.
I'm being repetitive.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's a blowout. Yeah.
a blowout.
However, Lower Moreland went further than anybody thought they would go.
Oh, sure they did.
went to the
Sure they
championship game. That's a big achievement for them. That's what I was leading up to.
No, hey, that's quite fine. You keep leading, Kat. You keep leading. All right, let's keep going on here. Recapping District 3 championship. Berks Catholic beats Bishop McDevitt out of Harrisburg. This Cap, I'm going to use this one. Another blowout.
Well, that one
46 to 26.
Doesn't sound like a very good game.
But
frankly,
26 points in a championship
boys'
game? Come on, Cap.
I'd be embarrassed.
I'm embarrassed for
I'd be
them.
embarrassed.
I'm embarrassed for them.
That's Bishop McDevitt of Harrisburg.
Of Harrisburg,
That
not the one
means
near us.
Not to be
Yeah,
confused
the one
with
near
Bishop
us here.
McDevitt of
Sure.
Glenside.
District
They're both
7
in the tournament.
championship.
Yeah.
Newcastle beats Quaker Valley. A little bit of an upset
That's
here.
a surprise.
That's Quaker Valley's first loss of the year.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
there you go.
57 to 52 there. But guys, let's take a look. Anything else to add on those before we move
We've
on?
been looking at Q Valley all year, and we don't know the team that well because we don't get to see them. But they were undefeated, and they were winning by a lot. Their average margin of victory,
Newcastle-
14, I believe.
And Newcastle, especially coming out of the Whippeal, is about the only team that can really hang in there with Quaker Valley, and essentially that's what happened.
Yeah, Quaker Valley ended that year at 23-1. Let's take a look at the bracket. Julian, throw that bracket for 4A up on the screen there. Thank you very much. Let's take a look. And guys, again, I'm just going to go through this and we'll talk top half, bottom half. Let's pick a couple of teams out here that we really like. Berks Catholic, we talked about them a moment ago. Yeah, Berks Catholic at 26-2. They're going to take on Bartram. You've got Mifflinburg and Valley View. We really haven't talked. We talked Valley View very minimally. Conwell Egan, they are at 8-15 somehow sneaking into this bracket here. I don't know how you sneak into the bracket at 8-15. Wilson, 16-11. They're going to take on that Conwell Egan team. That game is actually going to be in Philly. That's going to be at Father Judge High School in Philly. Bethlehem Catholic and Nanticoke. I've never heard of Nanticoke. We have not talked about them at all. We don't even have a record on them just yet.
It's up in the Coke district.
Yeah. Imhotep Charter, they're at 26-2. That's coming out of District 12. That's the one seed from
Kennard Dale's in trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know if they know what's coming out.
They're in,
hold on.
deep water without a paddle.
Hold on, I'm going to let you guys talk Imhotep Charter, but hold on. I want to get
I'm
through the rest
sorry.
of this. At least let me get through this
I had to
top
get a laugh
half
out
here.
about that.
Let's just get through the top half, and then I'll let you guys go off on
ahead.
Imhotep. Kennard Dale is who is going to be going down to Imhotep. Scranton Prep, big football school and doing very well basketball as well. Coming out of District 2 in the 1 seed. They're going to take on Tamaqua. You got Lower Moreland, District 1 seed at 17-7. They'll take on Overbrook. And then Montoursville and Middletown. That's going to go there. Julian, do you want to go bottom half of the bracket or should we talk about top? Let's go bottom half here. All right. You got Bishop McDevitt on the bottom half. They're going to take on Danville. Huntington, this is actually a team that I don't know if you want to call them a sleeper at 21-2. but they're a District 6 1 seed. This could be a good team coming out. They're going to take on Lancaster Catholic. Quaker Valley, that's the team we just mentioned before. Yes. They're going to take on Grove City. I really do think you could see either Quaker Valley taking on Bishop McDevitt or Huntingdon there. You got Hickory and Bell Vernon, two decent teams right there. Newcastle. And you've got, Fort LaBeouf. And again, here's another situation. Fort LaBeouf at 8-15.
Never heard of them.
I don't understand this.
Erie area.
Yeah, I don't understand this, really.
I don't think they have much out there.
No, that's District 10. Clearfield coming out of District 9 at 15-9. South Fayette, you got Johnstown, Indiana, Sharon, and Valley. So really, very, very interesting. Look, are we out of that bracket there? Let's get out of there. But guys, who do you like coming out of the 4A bracket? Who do you guys like coming out of this? I mean, obviously Quaker Valley, obviously Berks Catholic, maybe Scranton
Catholic,
Prep.
yeah.
What are you guys thinking? Who do you want to talk about?
Well, clearly.
Well, look, I mean, I think the clear unanimous pick for the 4A level at the 4A level is Imhotep, and it's simply because every week we talk about them. Their schedule. What Andre Noble was the head coach?
Andre Noble.
He put these kids through arguably, I think it's the toughest schedule that any Pennsylvania states any high school in the state of Pennsylvania. No one has played a tougher schedule.
And he does it every year, by the
Imhotep.
way. He does this every year.
They have gone through Bishop Gorman, Roselle Catholic, Camden. They've played these nationally ranked teams outside of the state, way out west.
Yeah.
I mean, this team is just ready for battle. They've seen great teams, and I think anyone that they face in this bracket is fair game for them to steamroll their way through, because they are just a force. They are the biggest freight train that you do not want to get in front of.
And I agree.
Yeah, and as good as some of these teams are, like Quaker Valley.
Yeah.
You're looking at I think we were looking at a potential Quaker Valley Imhotep final, barring major upsets.
Well,
I just don't see who can take that.
In there,
Newcastle. I think
Newcastle beat Quaker Valley for the district championship, so they obviously have to be taken into consideration.
I just don't see who can beat Imhotep.
Well,
guys.
the point you made about them taking on all these power schools, and it's the right thing to do, and Andre does it. In other words, we take all comers, and they're willing to spend the money to get to these places, and get these kids on a bus or get them on a plane. I don't know how they get there. And, it costs money, but they have fundraisers and they do it. And, Richie, they are good.
Well, you know what, guys? We just got we got an interesting note coming in. These comments are coming in. So, again, Ari Bluestein, he actually picked the 8-15 Conwell Egan to win it all. So, I don't know. No, he didn't. He didn't. I was giving a little bit of a heart attack right there.
I know.
No, he wouldn't do that. No. He wouldn't do that. But, guys, coming up, we are going to talk. We're going to keep going down. We've gone 6A, 5A, 4A. Yeah. So, that must mean 3A is coming up.
3A.
So, stay tuned to 3 in the Key before we talk 3A. Stay tuned to 3 in the Key on the Sports Fan Base Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have spent 3 days with one of the most insane programs, okay, I have witnessed in my 17-year career. It excites me, the presence of point blank period, of Coach Dooley, of Coach Fowler, of the people that he works out with, that he trains with, okay? It's exciting. And you have had the luxury of spending 3 awesome days with these people. I watched Coach Fowler. Mr. Coach, you watch Coach Farrell play? He is one of the most annoying basketball players you will ever see in your life. Okay? Because exactly what he trains, exactly what he preaches to you, he does at all times. This is real habit. This is not a gimmick. This is real basketball. Real basketball. Something that he has found success with. He has spread the word.
Welcome back to 3 in the Key. Thank you so much for staying with us here. Let's go over a trivia question one more time here. We gave it to you at the top of the show, but this was Kapp's trivia for the night. Who scored the most points in a PCL league game. Now we did.
What individual?
What individual?
Yes.
Who? Yeah. Which individual scored the most points in a PCL league game? Now we have had a few guesses come through. One guess that came through from Ari. He said Colin Gillespie. Cap, is he right on Colin Gillespie?
He is not right. However, Colin Gillespie had 45, I believe was the number, against Newman Goretti last year.
In the PCL championship, right?
Yeah, and no, it was not. It was in the regular season game, I believe. Oh. Yeah, but he also played great in the championship. But that may be the best performance ever by a Philadelphia Catholic League player in a single game. Because don't forget, he was going against Quad A Green.
So that's a really good guess.
I mean, it was a
really good guess.
Colin
really
Gillespie could not have been any better last year.
Yeah, it's a really great guess.
I'll leave it at that.
So again, put your answer, submit your answer into the comment section on Facebook Live or on YouTube if you guys are watching this on a delay. But let's get back into this. We've already gone through 6A, 5A, and 4A. Let's talk 3A, 2A, and 1A right now. And let's throw the 3A bracket right up on the screen. We're not going to talk district we're not going to talk about anything like that. Let's go right into the brackets here. So in the brackets for 3A, we start off with District 12 at the top. You got Newman Goretti up there. They're going to go to Archbishop Ryan High School to take on Steel High. Wyoming Seminary versus Mastery Charter South. MCS, really, we've talked about them a lot this year.
Well, there was MCN we were talking
MCN,
about.
and I thought
this
we were talking
MCS.
too.
Well,
I thought we were talking
MCS
MCS as well. They're not as good, but we have discussed them here on the show.
They're okay, but they're going to be probably losing that game, I'm thinking.
Let's get to that
Maybe
in a minute.
not. Maybe not.
Kutztown is going to take on Bishop McDevitt, definitely a team to discuss.
Yeah.
Wellsboro coming in this at 26-1. They're going to go to Mansfield University. Wow. They'll take on Notre Dame here. That Wellsboro Bishop McDevitt game could potentially be good if it gets to that. You got Valley Forge taking on Penn Treaty. Loyalsock Township taking on Holy Redeemer. Dobbins and Southern Columbia. Dobbins is a good football team. Trinity and Tacony Charter. And that's your top half of the bracket. Let's keep going through this. You got Legionnaire Valley. Now we're in the bottom half of the bracket. You got Legionnaire Valley at 21-4. They're going to Johnstown High School. They'll take on Lancaster Mennonite. They're at 17-9. That could be a good game. A 21-4 taking on a 17-9. That could be good there. You got Westinghouse Chestnut Ridge going against Burgettstown. You got Greenville and Cardinal Whirl NC. You got Lincoln Park, and not the band. You got Lincoln Park taking on Mount Union. You've got Karnes City, again, a big football team from 3A. You got taking on Mercyhurst Prep, Richland, and Aliquippa. You've got Seton LaSalle versus Central Cambria, and then Fairview versus Shady Side Academy.
I always pick Aliquippa to win.
Yeah.
And the reason is, and very, very few people know this, Pete Maravich was born in Aliquippa.
Really?
So it's got to be good basketball.
Oh, it's got to be. Yeah, it's in the water.
Because if anybody remembers him,
it's in the water.
Pete Maravich,
one of the greatest of all time.
That's
he
it.
was born there. We don't know much about that team in particular this year. But,
you don't need to. He was born there.
He was
you don't
born
need
there.
to.
That's it.
You don't need to.
Cardinal Whirl NC.
Yeah.
They had a good football team, I believe.
Yes. There are a lot of good teams coming out of 3A. A lot of good teams coming out of 3A that got a little bit of notoriety.
Me personally, I think this is where we start to see the dominance of the District 12 and maybe the District
you saw
10
Bishop McDevitt at 14-10.
Well, Newman Goretti's in this 3A.
Yeah,
Even though they didn't have a good end to their season, they are the powerhouse in here, in my opinion.
Well, look, I mean, they're the most storied, traditional, at least one of the most 3A teams in this bracket. They produced Quad A Green. They produced Demir Cosby Roundtree.
Yeah, you could see Newman Goretti and Bishop McDevitt in the quarterfinals.
And
we're still a couple weeks away from that
as well.
That's not till the 17th.
If they win, you realize if they win this tournament, which is a possibility, like you're saying, it would be the 5th in a row, and it would break the record. Wow. The record is 4 in a row.
Wow.
So this would be the most ever. And they're certainly capable of it. Great coaching, great individual players. They have a 6'9.5", Marcus in the middle
Littles,
there.
yep.
Yeah, Marcus Littles.
All right, let's go to 2A, guys. We got to wrap things up here. We are cutting it close on our time. Let's go to 2A. Brackets are up on the screen. Thank you very much. We start off, and here you go, Cap. Here's MCS again. Math, civics, and science. Different than Mastery Charter South, MCS.
That's right.
But yeah, very, very wrong, very different. They're going to go to Abraham Lincoln High out in Philly. They'll take on Panther Valley. That's a great name. That's a great name. Halifax takes on Doc Mennonite. You got Holy Cross at 20-6 taking on Northeast Bradford. They're a team under 500. You got Berlin and Bishop McCourt. Delco Christian takes on the very, very scary Constitution. Bishop Guilfoyle against Brockway. Moravian Academy at 19-6, coming out of District 11. They are going to take on Paul Robeson. And then you've got Muncie taking on Northwest. That's the top of your bracket. Let's go to the bottom of your bracket. See who's trying to take that trip to the Giant Center in Hershey. You got Sewickley Academy coming in at the top at 21-4. They're going to take on Cochran's Inn at 16-10. Ridgeway will take on North Star or North Penn Mansfield. Am I correct on saying either or there? Is that right? I believe that's
Looks
right.
like it, yeah.
Purchase Line is going to take on Jeanette. That's a great football matchup right there. I keep saying that, but yeah, Purchase Line and Jeanette. They had a really
Jeanette,
good football matchup. Yeah, really good football schools.
Yeah.
Cambridge Springs and Leechburg, Coudersport and Wilmington, Our Lady of Sacred Heart and Homer Center. Conemaugh Township taking on Charters Houston, and West Middlesex taking on Springdale. Guys, we're getting into the bottom half of this bracket here, and I know we're getting into the bottom half. Guys, I hate to say it, and I'm sorry, maybe I'm ill-informed here, but there are just a lot of schools here that I really feel like we don't get a chance to discuss that just don't make a lot of noise in the state.
But the two schools that are in Philadelphia that are traditionally powers in the 2A level are Math, Civics, and Science and Constitution.
Well, let's talk about them.
Those two have been going at it for years. And look, they're charter schools. They've been around maybe 15 years playing competitive basketball. But Rob Moore is the coach at Constitution, excellent coach. Very demanding of his players, but a real good in-game coach also.
Does Constitution take down Delco Christian in this opening matchup?
Oh, yeah, I think Delco Christian's in a lot of trouble.
I mean, the way that you're going to see Constitution versus Math, Civics, and Science would only be in the semifinals. You'd see that in the semis on March 20th.
One of them is going to come out of it and head up to the Hershey Arena. That's what I think.
Yeah.
One of those two teams.
Absolutely.
Danny Jackson coaches at Math, Civics, and Science, only coach they've ever had. And
I think we're looking at an MCS Constitution semifinal, and then whoever wins that game is essentially the 2A
Do you guys have
champion.
a team coming out of the bottom? Sewickley Academy? I mean, they seem to be the top team right
Yeah,
now.
Sewickley Academy, I think, will probably make it to the Hershey Center, and then they'll lose to either Constitution or MCS.
Who's your long shot, Cat?
Coudersport.
Okay.
Only because I stayed in a bed and breakfast there.
Okay.
Very nice to me.
Lovely people.
But they're also 21 lovely people.
You treat Cap right.
That's right.
Ari's got a little bit
However,
of an
they
upset.
are 21-3, Coudersport.
Ari's got a little bit of an upset here. He says he's got Sewickley beating Constitution in the championship. So he's got that happening in the championship. There you go.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Definitely a possibility. All right, our final bracket for the night.
The little guy.
Yeah. 1A is coming up here. Let's take a look at the 1A bracket. You know what? I mean, we say that, but there are actually a couple of teams to look at, as you can see on here.
There are a couple.
We've got Your Country Day in the top here. They're at 15-5. They'll take on Plumstead Christian. Nativity BVM taking on Sullivan County. Millville at 21-3. They've got a good record taking on a bad Lincoln leadership team at 8-17.
Not much leadership.
Not much leadership at all. Really, they're going to get crushed. Yeah. Faith Christian coming in at 23-1. They're going to take on Berks Catholic. Lourdes Regional at 22-4, taking on Greenwood. Here are two big teams. This could be a good game, guys. I imagine you're going to talk. This is the game. Sankofa and Girard College. Yep. That'll be the game. Let's talk about that in a second.
Yep.
Susquehanna and Conestoga Christian. Lancaster Country Day and Blacklick Valley. Let's go to the bottom half of the bracket now. As you see up on your screen, you've got Vicentian Academy at 18-7. They're going to take on Cameron County. Shade versus Cornell. I don't think that's the Cornell. Not the one that Andy from The Office went on.
I didn't know there was a high school.
Yeah, there is apparently.
I didn't know that.
You've got Elk County Catholic taking on Jamestown. Bishop Carroll coming out of District 6. Taking on Amani Christian. We've talked about them before. Johnsonburg, taking on Eden Christian. St. Joseph's Academy at 20-7. They're going to visit Tyrone High School to take on Shanksville. Union will take on North Clarion. Kennedy Catholic versus Propel Andrew. Guys, I think we got to go back to the top half. I imagine there are three teams that you guys want to discuss.
Yeah, well,
Propel Christian, Sankofa, and Girard College. No, they're not. Propel Andrew, not
they're in the deep end of the pool, and they don't know how to tread water.
Well, let's talk about Faith Christian, Sankofa, and Girard College.
Kennedy Catholic is the best single A team in the state.
Okay.
So that's really,
and they're also the this year and historically dating back to going back to your old trivia question, Cap,
8
about
titles.
Them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Tied with the most titles, with Chester, most state titles in the history of PIAA. Kennedy Catholic is very good again this year. Obviously the good game that we're interested in is Girard College versus Sankofa. One of those two teams, unfortunately, will lose. Girard College, coached by Bobby Jordan, I believe, who is an ex-Drexel player and a Drexel assistant coach, has gone down to the high school level, if I have that correct, and I think I do. But Girard College plays in the Bicentennial League. Sankofa plays in the Public League. Sankofa's got some athletes. I've seen them play.
Does Bishop Carroll come out of the first round?
I don't know much about Bishop Carroll.
No.
It's not Archbishop Carroll.
It's not Archbishop Carroll.
It's
not the same. Just Bishop Carroll.
So I don't know.
Taking on Amani Christian. Yeah, I just liked them. I thought they had a decent record going up against an Amani charter team at 13
Amani, I don't know them. And
anybody from the bottom of the bracket
I like
that really screams
Shanksville
out to
only
us?
because I was there for the memorial of where that plane crashed in 2001. So I'm going to give Shanksville my vote just for that.
There you go.
Because they had a very good season also. Shanksville's at 18-7.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Well, we definitely have to wrap up now. We got 2 news and notes. We've got to do the trivia here. But before we wrap up, we do have a couple of news and notes. Let's give Ari his shout out here. He in 1A has Kennedy Catholic winning the whole seat. He says he sees a lot of upsets here, but doesn't matter because Kennedy Catholic wins this one.
And they will, if
what.
they do, that will be their 9th championship, and they will break the record unless Chester wins the championship.
Yeah. Cap, it is time for your moment to shine. One of your many tonight, one of your many moments to shine. Who scored the most points in a PCL league game? Who was it? And when was it?
Well, this is always interesting because the PCL is traditional for not having a lot of points in their games. It's very steady basketball. It's old-fashioned basketball, a lot of movement, ball movement around the perimeter. They work, they pick and roll, they work the give and go, but it's not a lot of points scored in the game. So Bobby Haas, Haas, scored 51 for Bishop McDevitt versus Ryan, 1968.
Okay.
Scored the most points, 51. It's really
hasn't been beaten since 1968.
No, well, it's twice it's been beaten, but both in non-league games. So Sean Newman for Doherty against West Catholic had 58, but a non-league game, even though they're both Catholic League teams. And Chris Haynes for Bishop McDevitt versus Wincote, which is a very weak team, non-league, had 52. So only 3 guys have ever scored in the 50s. If you looked up in the public league, you'd have a list, as long as your arm, of guys who scored in the 50s. And that's the difference between the 2 leagues.
Well, guys, we had a lot of fun tonight going through some of these teams, and you all have made picks. Both of you, Ari, you guys have all made picks, and we're going for these brackets. We're going to keep track of these predictions. So make sure that you at home, make sure you stay tuned because we want to see how these predictions go. We want to see how these brackets look. It's always fun watching these brackets and see how correct we were, how incorrect, especially when you get into some of these more difficult teams that are from the other side of the state that we just don't get a lot of time to take a look at. So Josh, Cap, Ari, you guys have all made picks. Make sure you stay tuned in the weeks ahead so that you can follow with us. See how you're doing in your brackets. See how they're matching up with ours. Guys, we've got to wrap things up. It feels like the show just went by so quickly. That's what happens when you get to the state tournament time. Thank you so much at home for tuning in tonight. Clearly, so much to watch. But 3 in the Key, we are your place for all of boys basketball action as the playoffs keep going on and as these brackets go. And hopefully our brackets don't get busted too bad. Make sure that you check back here each week. There is so much excitement happening in playoff time in Pennsylvania. We've got to talk games. We're going to talk stats as these brackets get underway. For you at home, make sure you are commenting live during the show. We got some great comments tonight. We're definitely going to be talking about them. We're going to have a couple of them coming up. Make sure, comment on the show. Tell us who you'd like to hear about. Which teams, which games really spoke to you. We're in playoff time, so these games are getting really exciting. We're going to move through all the best of high school boys basketball action. Now, for the SFBN, there is so much more than 3 in the Key. While we love doing this show, we know we are not alone on this network. There is so much more that happens, like On the Mat with Mark Tribble. That's Tuesdays at 7. Varsity Voice with Frankie Stokes, Wednesday at 7. And In the Paint, that's girls basketball with Nikki Jones. Make sure you check Nikki Jones out Thursday at 7. Again, make sure that you guys, as you're watching the show, as you see it pop up during the week, you see those ads, check them out. Make sure to like, share, post about this episode and every other one on the In the Trenches pages through Facebook and YouTube. Please, please, please share that out. Now, our schedule, we will be back here next Monday night, right here on Facebook Live. We are going to provide you all of Pennsylvania high school basketball, boys basketball recaps, analysis, and predictions as we go through these state tournaments. But if you're unable to join us, you can always catch up with us while you're on the road. You're driving, you can't watch the show, but you just want to listen. You can hear these mellifluous voices coming through your car stereo. Make sure you check out our latest podcast. Go to the iTunes store, search Sports Fan Base Network. You can listen to, you can download the podcast of this episode and all our past episodes. And hey, while you're there, do us a big favor. Give us that ever so important 5-star rating while you're in the iTunes store. But in the meantime, check out our website, www.thesfbn.com. You can see more than just boys basketball. You can see some great articles and pictures written by Kapp, pictures taken by Kapp. We have got some great things going on there. You can also check out our game broadcast schedule, other sports information. It's not just boys basketball. We got everything on thesfbn.com. But thank you so much to our amazing crew, helmed by Julian Bellman. He is our amazing producer, but we've got such a great crew here. They've been putting on this show for you guys all season long. Guys, I thank you both so much for this. I'm sorry I was out this last little bit here, but it is good to be back, and I'm back just in the nick of time.
The best part of the year?
Best part of the year. Well, best part of the year, I got the best crew on the SFBN. I've got Jack Kapp, Josh Abrams, a wonderful production crew. I'm Richie Blyweiss. For all of us at 3 in the Key, I'm reminding you, hey, thanks for watching. Stay classy and be good to each other. Have a good night.